And welcome back to Bunters Yard. Today is a viewer's request. This is from a chap called Dave. That's another Dave actually, that's the second one in a week. Obviously my channel attracts people called Dave, which is fine by me. So if you are a Dave, leave a comment down below, let us know you're here. Let's see how many of us there really are out there. Anyway, I guess Dave has asked us that we could weather some scenery items such as these pallet stacks and the oil drums, and these are items that we print here at the studio, and we sell them on the website and eBay and etc. So I know quite a few people who watch have bought these items, which is really good, and hope they've turned out well. So just to make it easier to paint these, I'm going to stick these on a piece of, this is foam core, and just using double-sided tape, just so we can, it's easier to handle. Now if you use double-sided tape, try not to get one that's too weak. Obviously want it quite low tack, but not too low, otherwise what will happen is that your airbrush will blow away basically. So we're using a black primer to cover these, and this is the Vallejo surface primer in black, and the reason I use that is apart from the fact that it's easy to use because it comes straight out the bottle, I use black because it creates like a shadow. So if we miss any parts with the colour we've got on top, it just ends up looking like a shadow on a smaller item like these. So very good for sort of say creating these false shadows on smaller scale items. One of the problems with wood is that we just assume it's brown, and it isn't necessarily brown. So if you've got like some software like this is Photoshop, you can use your color picker, and then you can see the colors that are in there. And these are really sort of muted. They are sort of beiges and so on, but they go to what a grey, and there's even white in there as well if you use the picker. So it's quite useful. And on this is the rusty barrel. We'll do one of these just to give us an idea. I'm not going to use the same exact colours, but it's just to give us an idea of what it looks like. And this is a new palette, obviously unused, and the colours are different. If you look, they're going to be these bright sort of tan colours, and there's even oranges and so on in there. So we're just going to bear that in mind when we paint these. But anyway, let's start. We're going to start with these. We're going to paint these ones blue anyway. These are like the typical modern day. They're called Czech pallets, I think. They're the Euro pallets, and they're always painted in blue. I think they've been out for quite a long time, the blue ones. So I think like the 40s or something. I think they was. Even the Second World War, I think the Americans had some blue pallets. But anyway, just double check on the history, it's quite interesting. And then on this one, we're going to use this medium, it's called medium grey. I'm not sure if it is actually grey. It's definitely not grey anyway, because it's brown, but it's called medium grey on the bottle. I'll put a link down below to the kit. And on this one, we're going to use this grey. And this is for our faded one, for our weathered one, and we may as well just use the same colour while it's in the brush for our oil drums. We'll use a couple. We'll do a couple in this and a couple different colour. And then these are going to be rusty ones, so it's just this is literally the first brown that I chose, which was a Model Air colour, and it's mud brown. It can be any shade of brown. For what we're doing here, just going to make it rusty. We're going to cover it in powders anyway, just really to get a base colour on. So for our first bit of weathering, we're using this colour called light grey brown, which is one of the AKA interactive colours, and we're going to use this just like a dry brush. So we've got a small tatty brush that we can use for dry brushing. So you put the paint on the brush, as you can see, and wipe off as much as you can. because we just want to catch the edges. We don't want to sort of paint it as such. So we just just want to pick out a few details here and there. So where you think it might wear, you know, around the edges, that sort of thing. So these are, you know, designed to be looking used. They're never going to be, they're not even completely blue when they come from the factory, I guess. So we'll just add a little bit of damage to these, a little bit of wear. And on this one, I've seen some where, you know, the end planks or the slats are just unpainted for whatever reason that might be. I don't know whether they've been replaced or don't know. That's the style of them at the time. I don't know, but yeah, I've seen that, so it looks okay. So we're going to give that a go to see what it turns out like. So just a little bit on the edge, just to add a bit of sort of a detail, some sort of wear and tear, and just catches the edges, and you can then, you know, brings out the detail more, and you can see it from further away. Just makes everything stand out. So you can use the same colour on the next one as well. So just add a little bit of contrast from one to the other. And we'll add in some brown as well, maybe for yes, a bit of wood grain to the end or something like that. But don't forget, the idea is not to we're not trying to repaint complete planks. We just want to add in a bit of detail. If we get any paint at all to go on this, there we go. So yeah, just go very gently with this. If you want to go a little bit more detailed, you can even add in knots with a really fine brush, just a few dots and strikes here and there, and that would add in some dots or even nail heads, so on. We'll do the same around the edge, just to add, just to catch some of the highlights there as well, just to add a bit of variation to the colour. So back onto there, our old weathered palette. So looking a bit sad, just looking plain grey at the moment. So I've got another colour just popped in there, which is light grey brown. And we're just going to use that just to, again, similar things, just to touch the edges in, and a bit of the medium grey as well. And we're just going to kind of mix and match as we go, just to add some, let's say, a bit of variety in. That's a bit too dark. I'm not sure if I like that, but so we'll get rid of that in a second. Got a slightly darker grey. This is middle grey. Just going to use a little bit of that. Maybe get rid of that brown, or hide that just a little bit. and then with just a touch of weathering powder just to mess it up a little bit, just to make it look a bit more weathered. That's the idea. And this is just dark earth from Humbrol that we're using, just really around the edge, just to make some sort of pattern, like a wear pattern. So moving on to our barrels. Now we can do lots of rust streaks if we wanted to on these. On this particular one, I think we're not going to do too much of that. Using the weathering powder, the same dark earth that we just used on that pallet, just around the end, around the bottoms. Theory is that he's been sitting on the floor and the rain and the mud has sort of splashed up the sides. That's typically what they would look like, I think. And then just a little bit of rust powder, if we can get some off of the brush onto the barrel this time. Fourth time lucky, maybe. So just a little bit of rust on there. And then on the top where it's been filled, not so carefully, it's all spilled all over the place or whatever. So it's going to create some corrosion at the top, and that's the theory of this bit. And then I think we can add in. We use the Humbrol black. So this just again just another dimension. Let me just dot this in the top. That could be dried oil or whatever was in the barrel, I'm not sure. And then onto the rusty ones. These are quite simple. We've got our rust tones in front of us. So we're just going to do a selection of those 4 colours. You can see the 2 oranges, the yellow and the brown one in the background. We can just use some of that. And we're just going to kind of apply it randomly and see if we think it looks right. No real scheme to this, I don't think. Now these would need to be, ideally you'd need to varnish these later on, otherwise the powders would come off unless you're really careful. So if you do varnish these, just beware that as you varnish them, the effect of the powders will change ever so slightly. So have have a brush and your powders to hand, and you may need to sort of retouch and reapply certain parts if you want like a certain patch to appear. And just one final touch is add an afterthought, so I've gone back to this on this particular palette. Just want to add some marks. I'm adding just an old barrel I've got, an open-ended barrel. We can use it like a little sort of potato stamp sort of thing, and it just makes a little mark where there's been a barrel of oil and it's leaked down the sides or whatever. And it's just the idea. You can use that or any colour, different colours, or just complete different pattern if you want. And that's it. We're all done. Dave, hope that was useful. We'll see you next time, Bunters Yard.